What is up, guys? This is Zach from Anglers Escape, and today I want to go over how to locate a good fishing spot. I get a lot of questions on where do you find your fishing spots, or every fishing spot by me is garbage, I can't find anywhere to fish. And you'd be surprised if you looked in the right areas and used the right baits and lures and times that there are some great fishing spots even right by you. So the first thing I would do to start out is go to Google Maps, and you'd be surprised how many bodies of water like lakes, streams, ponds there are by you. See which ones are on public land and then go out there and start fishing them. And when you start fishing them, there's like a lot of tips I have for you guys. So the first thing is never give up on a spot once you fish it once and don't have any luck. Because a lot of times you might go at noon, catch nothing, but they're really all biting at 8 p.m. at night. Or you go in the evening and it's really in the mornings that they're biting. So each place you go, you want to sample at different times. Like my local pond, I can bass fish from 8 in the morning to about noon, or probably 8 in the morning to about 8 p.m. But the bass don't really turn on until about 8 to 9, right at that dusk hour, and then I'll start catching them left and right. So timing is key, and so you want to sample at different times. Go in the morning, go midday, go in the evening, and then you might find out that one of those fishing spots by you is actually really good. The next thing you want to do is use a ton of different baits and lures. So when I go to a pond for the first time, I have no idea what the fish are going to like or what fish species are even in there. So what I'll do is I'll bring one pole with worm, I'll bring another pole with like chicken livers, and I'll bring a third pole with like an inline spinner. So in Missouri you can legally have 3 poles. So 2 poles I'll have out with baits, 1 pole I'll have out with the inline spinner. After 10 minutes I'll change out the baits, I'll put on like corn and maybe a catfish dough bait, and then I'll change that inline spinner to a crankbait. And I'll start using that. So now I'm using just a ton of different lures and baits in the same pond, trying to figure out what they like. Another tip is move often. If I don't get a bite in about 15 minutes, even if I'm at a pond, I'll move to the next corner of the pond and fish there for 15 minutes, and I'll move on to the next corner of the pond, fish there for 15 minutes. The whole time I have my different baits out and I'm using different lures and I'm honing in on those fish with all these different tactics. And a lot of times the fish are in there, they're just biting at a specific time, or they're biting on a specific bait or lure, and you just have to find that bait or lure. So again, find that spot on Google Maps, then really test it out with different times, different baits, different lures. And another excellent thing to do, guys, is log when you catch fish. So I have a calendar in my room. Every day when I go home and I went fishing that day, I'll log down what fish I caught, where I caught them, and what I caught them on. And so when I put that all out in the calendar, it really helps me pattern these fish. So then I can go back to my 2017 calendar and be like, oh, in April I had a lot of luck bass fishing at this pond with a finesse jig. And so then I'll go back to that pond, and a lot of times I'll have the same type of luck. And so that's another great thing to do. And the last thing I want to talk about is online forums and social media. You'd be surprised, but there's a lot of Facebook groups out there. I know in Kansas City, there's a Kansas City fishing club that's just kind of open to the general public. There's also a Lee Summit, which is just south of Kansas City Fishing Club. And there's about 500 members in some of these clubs. And like every day, someone posts like, oh, at this local lake, I caught this many catfish on this bait. And it's really nice because it helps you out a lot, finding fishing spots, what bait to use, and what to fish for. So kind of do a quick Google search or search on Facebook for any local fishing clubs around you. Another great resource is websites. So there's like catfish.com, there's crappie.com, and then you can go down to your state and your kind of local area and see if anyone's posting on that. And finally, guys, another good source of information to finding a good fishing spot is just the local bait shop. A lot of times if you go in there, you buy worms or buy minnows, just say, hey, do you know where the fish are biting or where I might have some luck? And a lot of times they're more than happy to help you out. So I hope you learned something here today. You'll try out one of these tips. And as always, good luck fishing.